Hi, everyone. We are here with the amazing Susan Averette, and she is over Mexico. And so our conversation today is getting some questions answered regarding support and with people in other regions and how to grow your business internationally. And she's going to be sharing some tools that are already available to us in the resources, in the training center, and how we can utilize them to help us feel more comfortable to start sponsoring in these different regions. So I'm just gonna pass it over to her, and hopefully we're going to get all the, oh, here comes Denise. All of our I's dotted and T's crossed, at least to an extent, so we feel more comfortable and how we can go about actually sponsoring in those areas.
Well, thank you. And hopefully more people get on so that I can get real questions that they might have, and I will try to answer what I think they might want. First of all, I thought I'd just go over a quick little overview of things that you can go into your workstations, and in the training, there are trainings for working with different markets. One of the ones that I love was given by Meghann Clements and her husband, and they had a whole lot to say. They were ones that actually spend a lot of time in Australia and really spent a lot of time building up that market, and that kind of changed the whole dynamics of Region 3. And so there are things that you can do and learn from those that have done it before. The 4 things that they talk about are, first of all, you need to commit to the area like they did. I mean, you don't have to do what they did. They actually moved to Australia for a year and spent a lot of time working through those kinds of things. That is not what we're saying when we say commit to that area. But the things that are important is, if you want to recruit, well, and by the way, I'm also over the US Hispanics and Puerto Rico, that as well. So luckily you guys right here in the United States have a different market that you can focus on, which is the Hispanic market. But it's really important to understand their culture, understand who they are, figure out how to best serve them by getting to know who and what they are. So you could Google and find out what their holidays are, what their shipping is like, what their catalog is like. I will tell you that Mexico's catalog is very different than the US catalog. So if you sponsor someone from Mexico, it's really important that you understand the differences, even though they're part of Region 1, understand the differences between the 2 markets. So make sure that you figure out how to service them if you're going to recruit them. But understanding their culture is important as well. For example, when you're trying to communicate with them, even if there's a language barrier, you're going to try to communicate if you have someone that only speaks Spanish or German or what have you. There's things like interpretation sites that you could go to talk back and forth. I'll talk about other things in just a minute, but just when talking about keeping in touch with them, an example of the culture, when you're talking to someone in Spanish, for example, when I send things to Jess, it's just like, hey Jess, and then I just ask or tell or whatever. But if you're going to speak to someone in the Hispanic community, you would be a little bit different. You'd be like, hey, I hope you're having a great day. Hope things are going well. And you would interact with them just a little bit with pleasantries before you go in and ask them what they want. I mean, it's just a small thing, but if you're very abrupt, then it's something that they feel that we don't necessarily feel. So to understand their culture, to understand who they are, those are the little things that make a difference. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing to remember, so I'm going to go in a little bit as to how best to develop something. If you don't know another language and you want to recruit in another language, then the best thing you could do is to find that one person that either is bilingual and can actually, they would be kind of that gatekeeper, that person that would be your go-between, and hopefully they would end up becoming that director and have all those people, but you could be working with that person that knows both languages. However, if you don't know somebody that wants to join that is bilingual, so sorry, let me kill that noise. Hopefully it's gone in a second here. But if you don't know someone like that, then don't be afraid of those that just speak Spanish. However, I would probably work with just that one person and then let that one person recruit a team. So if you wanted to go, for example, to Germany, find that German person, whether it's here in the United States, it's going to recruit a bunch of people in Germany, or whether it's somebody that you know that actually, or become acquainted with that actually lives in Germany, but still just rely on that one person and then help them to develop a group, which would have to happen because unless you went there and spent time. So it's really great to have that one person that you can really focus on so that they can focus on the bigger picture. One thing to remember though is that you don't want to be, especially if you're dealing with the Hispanic community, you don't want to be just out there looking like you're just wanting to find people. It's really important to develop that relationship. It's really important to develop a relationship, a friendship, and then offer them the opportunity. When it's something that you love and you're sharing it, it is so much different than, oh, you speak Spanish, I have this great opportunity. You know, why don't you join my team? You know, it makes such a difference in their willingness to accept it. When they think that you're doing it because you are invested in them as a person and want their lives to be better. So make sure you do that. So if you don't know anybody, then how do you find these people? That is probably the biggest question and something that's probably the hardest thing to work through. Just in preparation for this, a few minutes ago, I sat down and thought, you know, okay, well, if I'm going to say this to them, then maybe I need to kind of see where I'm at. You know, one of those things is you usually know about 150 people, but those 150 people know 150 people, and your network can get very large if you work with those people. So I was just thinking of who I personally know. If I were, you know, and I actually, one of these was an example of when I was a director and who I reached out to. But I thought, okay, so if I were really wanting to go out to a different market, to the Hispanic market or whatever, to a different market, who do I know that could help me to get there personally? And in just a few minutes, I came up with 4 people. I came up with my daughter, who actually went to Minnesota as a missionary, and she spoke Spanish as a missionary. And so she knew people that were from Mexico or from, you know, the United States that spoke Spanish. And I thought, okay, well, you know, I could easily, you know, work with my daughter to develop those relationships with those people in Minnesota who might be my gatekeeper to a bigger ability to recruit and to bring into my business. I thought about Sylvia, who is from Argentina. She actually worked for Scentsy for quite a long time. But I thought about Sylvia, who was a friend of mine before Scentsy. Her husband's from Italy. Her daughter was great friends with my daughter. She now lives in Argentina, but she also has grandparents in Italy and has a whole family in Italy. And can't recruit in Italy right now, but we can sell. you know, so if we found somebody in one of the other countries where we could recruit, then there would be a whole opportunity for that gatekeeper to have a successful clientele of people in Italy. I could help facilitate that. I thought about a neighbor of mine who was from Spain. Her mom and dad and aunts and uncles all live in Spain. So I could talk to Veronica about her family in Spain. If she wasn't interested in being a Scentsy consultant and dealing with that company, I mean, all of her relatives in Spain, then, you know, I could ask her to help me find one of her family members or somebody that she knows in her trips to Spain that could help me to enter into that country. And then the one that I did when I was a director in Scentsy, this is one that I actually worked on. Tamir, he was a guy that when I owned the car wax business of Orville's and was working with that, he was one of my distributors of the car wax. He was one that took it to a lot of the what are they called in English? You know, where they go sell things. Sometimes my words get so mixed up into these two languages. Not home shows, but those things they do every week.
There's like the flea markets or the
flea markets. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Those flea markets. So he would take this car wax to the flea markets. Well, his wife was from Mexico and all her family was from Mexico. She actually became one of my consultants and was doing great. But at that point, we were not open in Mexico. We weren't in Mexico, so that I could not get to Mexico. So that one didn't necessarily work for me at that time. But if somebody else were to, I don't think she's a consultant anymore since I turned my business over to someone else. And yeah, they didn't do with it the way that I would have liked. But if somebody found her, Mexico is now totally available and she has a whole lot of family there. And it could be a gold mine. So just in a few minutes, I came up with several areas that if I really wanted to work into a different market, I have leads. I have ways that I could at least get started and get thinking about it. So if you spend some time just thinking quickly about who you might know, whether it's somebody that you know you see in a grocery store, or I have a sister who everybody in the grocery store knows her by name and she knows them by name. Some of them speak Spanish. So, I mean, you know, just look, just keep your eyes open and develop those relationships, even if they're just as simple as being really nice to a teller at the store, calling them by name for every time you go there, searching for their line, even if it's long, to go there to say hi to them over and over and over again. And eventually there's that feeling of trust, that feeling of friendship, and then you offer that opportunity, not just for yourself. And this is something really important to know, to remember. It's not about you. You know, yes, your business can grow, but even outside of going to a different market, just remember that it's not all about you. It's about you taking something that has blessed your life, something that has made a difference to you and that you love, and that you want to go out there and to share that with as many people as possible, because you know that their lives can also be blessed from the opportunity. So always make it about them. Always make it about the fact that I have a desire to make the world a better place. I was just reading this is the English one. I was just, going over the catalog again, and just thought I'd share this. To the Scentsy mission, and if you keep this in mind and live by it and recruit by it, it makes a huge difference. Scentsy mission is to bring value to the world. Bring value to the world. That's why you're recruiting. That's why you're going out there trying to find people. It's not so that you can line your pockets. It's not so that you can, have this grandiose organization, even though those things come. But your mission should be to bring value to the world by providing an industry-leading, family-friendly business opportunities, selling creative, artistic, high-quality products that warm the heart, enliven the senses, and inspire the soul. Keep that in mind, and then you want to share that opportunity because you're blessing other people. You're making someone else's life better. So try always, always, always to keep in mind that it's not about you. It's about how you can change the world one person at a time. And hopefully that's how you feel about Scentsy. Hopefully that's the experience you've had, because truly it is an opportunity to really develop relationships that matter. Brighten the world up because you're a better person for having been part of Scentsy. And hopefully that drives you. All of what I've just talked about, minus the personal parts of it, can be found in the workstation. So truly go to the workstation and into the training section, and there's so much there. So when you have questions, it's great to be able to go there. That's kind of an overview of maybe how you can start to recruit. But then Jessica gave me some things that you might be thinking as to, okay, so now I'm going to go out and recruit, but then what? If I don't speak the language, how's that going to benefit anybody? Just know that we have resources. We do take care of them. If you ever recruit anybody that speaks Spanish, even if they're bilingual, Spanish and English, or if you have someone in your downline who has recruited in a different language, then we have Facebook pages for sure. Get them connected to the Facebook pages, because that will connect them to other people that work with, that speak their language. They can ask the questions and things like that with people that will support them in their own language. It also connects them to me a lot easier when they're in Facebook. They can tag me, they can become friends with me, they can message me and be able to get questions answered and find people that will support them and help them. When you recruit someone, you also have that ability to go to your workstation, and if you want to know what's going on, for example, in Mexico, where the offerings are completely different, where the catalog is not the same, then you can, and the problems that they have and all that are just not the same. You can toggle between US English, which is where you're probably sitting. Up in the left-hand corner, there's a little flag there, a US flag. You can toggle right there and go to US Spanish if you've got somebody in the United States that speaks Spanish, and you can, when you toggle to Spanish, then it goes in and shows you everything in Spanish. So if you wanted to come up with some brochures in Spanish, some communications in Spanish, if you know somebody at the store that speaks Spanish and you want to offer them the opportunity, toggle that, go find the join brochure in Spanish and print it out and share that with them. If you have customers that want to buy, toggle the into Spanish and go show them the catalog. So everything that you guys, a lot of the things that you guys have in English, they also have in Spanish. You can also toggle to Mexico English if you want to understand what's going on in Mexico and you have a cross-border agreement. Then you can toggle Mexico English and read all of their catalog and everything else in English so that you can understand it and know what's going on, but they can read it in Spanish. So remember that flag up there is great. However, to be able to actually use it, you will definitely need that agreement signed in your accounts. Some people worry about that in the United States, Mexico is part of Region 1. So it's just a matter of getting that signed. If you are in Canada, remind me, it's been a while since I looked at this, Jesse. So if you want to work with people in Canada, is it $5 a month?
Yeah.
Okay, so and it's the same in Mexico. It's $5 a month. And so then you have to just weigh whether or not it's worth it. Sometimes people will have a downline far down that in a different country, but they have not signed that country agreement. They're in their downline. They're part of their group. But if they don't have that agreement signed, then the commissions are not paid. You have to get that signed in order to be paid on those commissions. Sometimes, if you're talking about Europe, sometimes those commissions would equal up to less than $10. So would it be worth paying the $10 for that cross-region agreement? Perhaps not. But if you've got commissions that would be $12, which you can go into your commissions and find that out. That's topic for a different time. Mm-hmm. But you can find out how much it would be. If it would be $12, then for sure, pay the $10, you still are $2 ahead. So sometimes you have to, think about whether or not it's worth that. But if you want to recruit or to sell in Mexico or Canada, then you need to have those things signed. And that's something important to teach to the person that you recruit. If they're in the United States and have people in Mexico, make sure that they understand that agreement has to be signed in order to sell and to recruit in Mexico. The only other note that I have here, and then we can ask some questions. The only other note that I have here is I wrote down here Cabo and Cancun, because I think I was going, that was back when we were talking about how to recruit. Mm-hmm. Those of you that get to go on and that have earned the right to go on to these incentive trips, don't ever lose those opportunities. If we're in Mexico, for sure, spend that whole trip recruiting. Then putting your name on things and sending them out there. The person that's cleaning your room, the concierge at the table, the people that are checking you in. Always, when you're down in Mexico for one of these incentive trips or a family vacation or what have you, leave your card everywhere with samples. Even if they don't speak, well, usually when they're in the hotel industry, they usually speak English. That's how they get their jobs. But the same thing, if you ever have an opportunity to go on an incentive trip to Europe, like we have in the past, make sure you do not lose out on those opportunities. They're fantastic. I know that there's quite a big group in Yucatan because people left their cards when they were there for leadership or incentives. So anyway, that's basically what I have in my notes. Jesse, is there anything else that you would add to that or would like to ask me questions, or if Denise has any questions?
I do have one question that I'm not sure of. Do we still do seed kits?
To do seed kits, you do call into consultant support, and they have to do that through support. It's not something you can order.
Can you explain what that is in case people that are watching later don't know what that means?
Yeah, and I now that you asked, do they still do that? I am almost positive they still do that. It's been a long time since I've had to work with that. But the seed kit is basically you buy a warmer and a bar of wax and a catalog and send it to that person in that country. So if you were wanting to recruit someone in Spain or in Germany, if in Germany you would call into consultant support. They would help you order a warmer that is compatible to Germany, a wax that's compatible to Germany, and a German catalog. and then they would send that through the distribution center in Europe. It's called a seed kit, and then after they get it, then they can review it, and then you can talk with your potential team member, and they have something in their hand.
Okay. Denise, if you want to unmute yourself, if there's any questions that you, or anything you want to discuss with Susan while we have her regarding your couple people.
Yes. Hi, Susan. Nice
Hi,
to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, so basically everything is the same when someone joins from Mexico or somewhere else. But I know Jess had mentioned they actually can get a credit at some point to purchase stuff.
Right. Then Mexico is the only country that does this, and it's just, again, because of the culture and the way that it's impossible for them to work any other way. But once they have become certified, a Scentsy consultant in Mexico has that opportunity to get a loan, basically, from Scentsy. And then they pay that loan back before they get another loan. Basically, the reason that they have it is because the consultants the customers down there, just by culture, do not pay for the product until they get it, which puts an undue burden on the consultant. And so they will get a loan to pay for the order. When they get the order, they go deliver the order, gather the money, and pay that money back through the bank. They have it all set up through the bank in order for them to pay those loans back straight to back to Scentsy.
Okay.
And then, but they do have to pay the loan back before they can get another loan. And the loan amount increases per title.
Oh, okay. Okay. And I forgot, I know this was mentioned before, but I can't remember. Does somebody need a bank account? Or can they use like because my girl who I'm working with now, she asked that again today, and I forgot because I haven't had anybody that joined that didn't have a bank account.
Yeah, if she doesn't have a bank account and has access to paid bank cards, I mean, you know, you can use, she just uses a credit card, and as long as that credit card works, you know, that would be just fine. The only problem that she would have is getting her commissions, because the commissions go into the pay portal just like they do here, and the pay portal has to have some place to send those funds.
It goes on our Visa, our Scentsy Visa card?
And she could, if she wanted to put it on her Scentsy Visa card, yes. And then
Okay.
she could actually use her Scentsy Visa card if she was able to put enough on that through her commissions. She could use that Scentsy Visa card to pay for orders.
I'm sorry.
She doesn't necessarily need to have a bank account in order to pay her loans back. She would just have to go to the bank and use the information that she has to put that money in the bank that goes to Scentsy.
Okay.
And then she can transfer all her commissions directly to her Scentsy card instead of to a bank if she doesn't have a bank account, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Explain that to her, that she's going to be issued a Visa card from Scentsy, and and she'd have to just send it to the card, which would upload immediately, instead of like a lot of us do, we send it to our banks to pay bills and stuff. So she would just be sending it to her Visa card. And so if she's looking to like pay bills with her Scentsy money, then she'd have to have it like set up as an audit, I mean, is that Visa, as long as it has the Visa logo, right? She can put it as like a payment for a bill or something.
Right. But a lot of times when they work like that, again, this is a Mexico culture thing, they work a lot with cash. And so as she is gathering orders from the consultants, then that puts cash in her hand. But she just has to remember that she has got to pay that loan back. And that's something that she needs to put in top priority to get the loan paid back But she basically has that cash in hand because most of the customers will pay in cash.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, I didn't know. In the seed kit, that's exactly how it's spelled, is how it sounds. Seed
Yes,
kit.
S-E-E.
Okay.
Yeah, seed kit.
And it's through customer support. Okay.
Correct.
Like planting the seed of the business opportunity so they experience the products. Yes. So seed.
Oh, seed.
Yeah,
Seed.
seed is in dropping a little
Yeah,
seed in the
that's-
ground and letting it grow.
My hearing's really bad. That's why I have my
Oh, that's okay.
plugs in too.
I heard you say seed, so I'm glad Jesse heard something else because that's what I heard.
Okay, perfect. Oh, well, that's nice to know. Okay, so then, oh, okay.
Okay, anything else that you need to have help with that person? Just remember, if you do recruit anyone, sponsor anyone that does speak Spanish, it would be very helpful for them if they were invited into that Hispanic group. I have a Mexico Facebook page, and I have a US Canada Hispanic page, and then I have a page that's just for all the Hispanic, the Spanish speaking leaders.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, she's actually bilingual, so this is another girl. I have a couple of them that I'm working on.
Fabulous. I will say too, I do want to share that the Hispanic group right now is on fire. They are growing leaps and bounds. I think that they've just finally gotten wind of the fact that there's support. I have seen activity on my pages and in my life, a complete surge in activity in what I do. So it's a great time. It's a great time to focus on the Hispanic community. But if you're also going over to Europe, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there. If you've got connections over there. One thing to keep in mind, if you're going, I know that German was German mentioned? Oh no, it was one of my Hispanic gals that asked me about German because it was Alemania in Spanish. So, but in Germany right now, remember, Britta Walker is a country manager. She's German, and she translates everything and has a Facebook page and does everything for them that I do. There's not anyone that really does Spain right now in Spanish. Spain Spanish is a little different than what I do, and I'm not involved in that at the moment. But most of the Spain recruits are actually expats anyway and speak English. But there's ways into those other countries as well.
So Denise, you have somebody you've mentioned to me. Can you remember or remind me about something about Italy? So maybe Susan can kind of clarify how to go about that lead.
Yeah, because we're in Europe, but we're not in Italy, correct?
Correct.
So
last time I checked, we could sell in Italy, but we don't recruit in Italy.
So if someone who lives in Italy, there's no way for them to be a consultant unless.
Correct.
There's just no way. Okay.
Correct. Unless they're citizens and live in a different country as well. Because a lot of the people in Europe have two different houses. I mean, they will have a house in Spain and they'll have a house in England. You know, and so if they have a house in Italy and a house in Ireland, then they could use their Ireland address and sign up as a consultant, as an Irish consultant. But if they're solely in Italy, then there's no consultants in Italy.
Okay.
So we would need to find somebody in Europe as a consultant to be able to sell to her person in Italy.
Correct.
Okay. Why do I feel like, Denise, you told me that she was dual citizen with Europe? Like, am I wrong?
Yeah, no, she's not. She just came here as a student.
Okay.
Yeah.
So her full citizenship is in Italy.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I have another girl in Brazil, but we're not there either. So I got all these, but I'm like, so.
At this point, with those two, you just have to send them gifts yourself, and and until they, so that they can use it and love it. And then if we ever eventually get to those places, they'd already have a foundation. But just as one-on-one gifts from you, not to sell, and not to necessarily give to other people, but just to be able to use for their own personal use. Anywhere in the world, you can send a gift, but you just can't sell.
Okay. Well, that was helpful. I'm really excited about this seed kit, though. That's I was like, oh,
good
cool.
luck at getting into consultant support to order it right now.
Oh my God! I actually, yeah. I called yesterday 5 times and this morning, and
those poor gals and guys are working so hard. It's just so hard right now for them, and they're doing their very, very best. And boy, the thing that would work best is if everybody would just send in a ticket and leave it alone until somebody answers their question. But the continual, I haven't heard about this, and I haven't, what's the status on this? Then you got 3 people working on the same thing, and they're clogged up because they're trying to support.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about it that way. Well, I'll make sure that I share on my page to think about that just one avenue, so they could free other people up to get to other people.
Right. Because of impatience, one ticket is basically 4 or 5 tickets, when if we only had 1 ticket per every one, it increases it 5 times.
We're in such a right now world, click away, I need to have my information right now, Google, Siri, whatever. And so people are so impatient.
Yeah. Well, we've been forced to slow down just a little bit.
Right. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason why I called them is because I just found this out myself. Always learn something new with Scentsy. Because I have a product I need to return because it broke. And I guess because they have a charge, I have to pay a fee to exchange it. You have to go through customer support. You can't go through the chat. Right. And the rep who was helping me, she didn't know that either. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I said, it's okay. I just want to make my customer happy and replace the product. So that's why I've been trying to get through.
You guys are awesome. Yeah.
Melissa, I see that you're there. Do you want to unmute? Do you have any questions or want to chat about anything before we let Susan go for anything?
Well, I'm just listening. I came on late. I apologize, and I'm going to look at the replay. I'm honestly not really sure what questions I might have because it's new, but I have read there's a lot of documents in the workstation about recruiting internationally, and after going to New Zealand, that was something that I became interested in. And so, I have no idea what my questions would be, so I'm just going to watch the replay.
Awesome. Did you get any type of connection or contacts with anybody in New Zealand when you were there?
No, but it just opened my eyes to the possibility. It's like Denise said, I have people I know somebody in Chile who might be interested, but we're not there. It's just other places. But the seed kit, now I'm familiar with the seed kit, but can we send that to anyone, anywhere? Or only in the places where we're selling?
Only in the places where you can, where you're looking for a recruit, yes.
Okay.
And you do have to have a cross-border agreement, a cross-region agreement to do that.
Okay.
But yes, so if you wanted to send a seed kit to Australia, New Zealand, Spain, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good question. Any others?
I think you answered all of the ones that I think that we were, I mean, I think the biggest one was just like how to go about meeting people, and that I really do love that. I think everybody should watch the Meghann Clements and Ryan
Definitely.
in the workstation. You just type in international in the search and it pops up, and then all that international stuff comes up. But I was actually at that reunion. I took their class, and I think that I'm so glad, Susan, that you mentioned, like, you don't have to go about it that way, but obviously that's like a better way of like really submerging, like taking a trip there, but not everybody can do that.
Right.
But I remember Meghann talking about, just, we do this in the US, like referrals are everything. It's like the best compliment you can get in the business. And so talking to people of your circle that you know, if they know anybody in those areas, and those, I loved how you used the gatekeeper reference, because I used to work I was a telemarketer for like 3 months.
And 3 months too long.
Exactly. And that's what you had to get through the gatekeeper to get to that person you really wanted. But when you use that as a good thing, that they're like your connection and you build that relationship, I was thinking of Denise, that the person that it's her pastor that she sees every Sunday and has a relationship with, it's their daughter. And so having that relationship is really what's going to continue to build and continue to hopefully open up more conversations to get to the daughter, to start start that relationship with her and stuff. But I think with the seed kit too, is we know the business, the products really do sell everything on its own. So once you get a seed kit to this girl, it probably would help.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Fabulous.
I don't want to take you any longer than 30 minutes. I'm sorry, Susan.
You're great.
This was awesome. I have
Thanks
notes
for
that I'm
inviting me.
share with everybody, but any last thoughts or advice with international?
Just don't let it scare you, and just and language barriers, they get scary, but just know that we live in a small world these days. There's so many interpretation keys. They may be funny to interpret, because you get things back and you just kind of chuckle, but at least you understand what they're trying to say, and it goes both ways. So don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it, and know that there's support. Know that, in a different language, there's support.
I think that's good you said that, because it made me think about when I was communicating with somebody in Mexico once. I was like, they'd send me a big old Facebook message, and it was all in Spanish. So I took it and I placed it in the Google Translator and I looked at it. And I think that it made me think about our confidence on our end really makes a difference for the person that has no idea what they're getting into, especially if there's a barrier of language. And so the more confident we are that they're going to be supported, and that even if us as the actual sponsor doesn't have that language to communicate with, that we're confident enough to share with them that Scentsy's, they'll be in good hands with Scentsy.
Right.
There's going to be a resource. There's going to be lots of ways to communicate, because just like here in the US, like, nobody wants to join with somebody that's timid and, oh, I don't know if this is going to be for you. And, like, they kind of take on the temperament that you do, just like dogs do with it's the same thing. If you're confident and excited and think that it's a great thing, then they're going to be like, okay, well, whatever you're excited about, I want a part of it. But if you're like, well, I don't know, I guess it could be good for you, they're going to also be questioning it. So it kind of goes both ways. And then I just want to reiterate what you shared about, like, the communication, about how you said to, start with the how are you today, instead of just like, so are you going to join? And I think that even though that culture is a little bit more that way, I think even in the US, we still need to be very aware and intentional about how we communicate, and not just go straight for the plunge. I always, because I'm that way, my thoughts are very like to the point, and then I always have to like, okay, now I have to add the hi, how are you?
Mhm.
Right. Oh, by the way, hope you're having a great day.
Yeah, so I'm glad you shared that, because it's so true. I think that especially when you're busy and you just want to get something done, you kind of forget that part, because your mind, Of course I want to know how their day is, but I need to get this done.
Unless you're Hispanic, and then you don't forget.
Yes, yes, yeah, which I'm not, so it's something good to know.
Having a great day, and I'm really bad. You got to have that positive little point there before you know. But that's their culture. I mean, they're always going to have that real personal touch.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Susan. Again, I'm always so excited when you take the time to help our group and share all your tons of knowledge.
Oh, well, anytime.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and anytime you need me. It was
Thank you
great.
very much.
I love having this opportunity to face-to-face with you guys.
All right.
So,
Well, thank you.
thanks.
We'll see you guys next time. And Susan, have a great day. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.